Hi out there in the YouTube world, it is me, the Puzzle Master, and I'm here today to talk to you about media, brainwashing, and astrology. Okay? Now, I won't mention any TV shows directly, but there's countless number of them. Some of these shows I even enjoy and watch myself. But it still offends me when I see, like, they got this, like, stereotypical image of, like, a gypsy fortune teller who wants to tell you your fortune. Are you gonna win the lottery? What's some lotto numbers? And they look into their crystal ball. I want to try to break that stereotype right now by talking to you about this and what it actually means and how astrology can actually help you and be used as a tool for divination to connect with your God, the one inside your head. Because what astrology has really taught me is that when we look at a natal chart, like where the moon is placed, that's like your mind. Where the sun is placed, that's like your soul. Your ascendant is like your physical body and your childhood. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. There's so much more. Chiron, the asteroids. Oppositions in a chart often show like conflict or where there will be struggle. Conjunctions are usually helpful, and it's more of a combining energy of the planets that are in the conjunction, depending on what planets they are and like how well they get along with each other and in what sign they fall in. But as you can see from just that little in a nutshell, astrology is really complicated. But what it's used for in your natal chart with your sun and your moon and your ascendant, etc., like what I was saying, is for understanding your consciousness, the one that lies in that little sack of meat, like, you know, that it's mostly made out of fat, but the one that's in between your ears, that one, your mind muscle, it's about that. And it's not even just about how your brain thinks, okay? Because it also explains your physical attributes. And when you get really, really good at astrology, you can actually, like, guess people's signs like that. Like, it's just so easy. Because their physical traits are defined by their zodiac planet placements. And, of course, it is very complicated. And even I get it wrong sometimes, even though I've been studying this for so long. Because someone's moon might shine through more to me, and then I'll guess like that they're a Cancer or something. But they're a Capricorn, sun sign. And it's like, oh, sorry. But most of the time I'm actually pretty accurate at guessing people's signs. So, I have a Gemini moon, which means that I'm very like able to categorize things and pretty much what Mercury is all about. So this retrograde, this Mercury retrograde that we're in right now, heavily affects me because my moon, my mind, is Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So like that's one of my main planetary influences. That's basically what that means. And right now Mercury is going retrograde, so whip-de-woo. It's all in like this roller coaster of going backwards and self-reflection and learning from the past and all that fun stuff that normally we don't want to have to deal with. But Mercury retrograde kind of forces us to deal with these kind of things. And it puts you into a sorry to segue like this, but it really puts you into a mindset where you have to look at things from the past. And it changes your actual thinking, because like Mercury is like that divine connection to source, the messenger of the gods. And when it's going backwards, it's basically just telling you, like, it's yourself letting you know things that in the past you haven't done properly. That way they need to be readdressed. But we have to remember that Mercury, which is part of it connects to the moon in your mind, so wherever Mercury is in your chart. Mine is also like with my moon in the same sign, so it's like double whammy, like they're conjunct and all that fun stuff. But it's really, really actually a really good opportunity because it's gifting you knowledge from the past, like how your mindset used to actually be. When Mercury is in retrograde, it is often advised not to sign contracts, marriage, all that kind of stuff. Anything that's going to be long-term commitment due to short-term action, which is taken in the moment. And when Mercury is in retrograde, you're not thinking as you normally would be when Mercury is not in retrograde, which is most of the time. So you don't want to make a decision when Mercury is in retrograde that will affect long-term life paths, decisions, and choices, because you normally don't think like how Mercury is when it is in retrograde. It is how you think when it is in retrograde, so it is still an aspect to yourself that is true, but it's only true some of the time. So you don't really want to sign stuff and get all like indebted to things when it's in retrograde, because when it comes out of retrograde and it's like the fog is lifted and you can move forward and like you're allowed to ignore things from the past and it's not just constantly bombarding you, that when your mind shifts into that state, then that is the time to make those kind of decisions, because you're more clear-headed and you aren't clouded with thoughts of the past. But back to my main discussion. Sorry for the little segue there, but I felt that since Mercury is in retrograde, it is important to discuss that. Yeah, going back to the media brainwashing, and like, it's really not supposed to be used for predicting specific physical events. It's the psychology that goes on in your head. So when you look at someone's natal chart, it gives a reflection of their psychology. And when you look at like there's a really good website called The Planets Today, and it's really good. It provides like a three-dimensional view of the solar system with the zodiacs in its outer ring and all of the placements that fall within that. And when you look at where the planets are today, it's going to show reflections on how you are being influenced by the celestial bodies, by their energies, their consciousness, whatever, however you in your perception want to view them. And that's something else that's very important, is that there are so many religions over the planet and people battling and fighting each other over them. And there are different outlets, like, meaning when you study astrology, you realize that everyone sees the world differently, through a different lens, through a different guise. Their eyes are literally different than yours or mine. Everyone's are. We're all unique crystals, where there is no crystal like you out there. You are unique and one of a kind, as am I. And the true matter of this is that we need to develop compassion, understanding, respect, and love for one and each other for our uniqueness. Because it is through this uniqueness that we collectively, as a culture, as a civilization, as humanity, it is through understanding that uniqueness that we grow and rise, that we evolve. And it is only through judgments and pessimism and looking down on one another that we degrade and lower our consciousness into a state of hatred, into a state that is not love. And it is only through the love and understanding of with compassion for other individuals. But it also gets very confusing, because you have to understand that your crystal perspective is accurate to your, not only your natal chart, but your upbringing as a child. All of it is true to you, and it's true to me. And it's really about understanding the duality, where there is separateness on this side, and then there is like connection and compassion on this side. But there is a gray area in the middle, where there is truth. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to in this video. Regardless of if some people out there want to be like, oh, yay, woo, I agree with you. Or if they want to be all hatred, and, what you say just doesn't make sense to me, and therefore I'm mad at you. I'm not even getting to that. I want to explain that everyone has a unique viewpoint, and that we should not have expectations that other people think like us. And that religion, I feel, all over the planet, from my perspective, which I would appreciate if it was respected by others, religion has been a control tool to, keep humanity in check. It's very, very recently in human history's time where there has been a separation of church and state. So they are two separate entities. But they've so long been ingrained with each other that even in this modern day world, they are like stuck. Like they don't want to let go, because people look to, I feel anyway, divine guidance, especially when it's written down in a book, you know, like when it's written down in paper form. When they don't have a good inner compass themselves, you have to look inside of yourselves. All the answers are within. God, whatever you would like to label it, has given you consciousness to decide right from wrong. You know right from wrong. And through upbringing, a lot of things are instilled in us from the churches and from media about how we should be, how we should look, how we should act. All of these things are taught to us, you know? Like someone isn't defined by their hair color or its hair length. Sorry, that's kind of an arbitrary example, but that's why I chose it. Arbitrary. It shouldn't matter, and it shouldn't be anything that separates you from the collective consciousness that makes you an individual should more be prized for its specialness and its uniqueness, instead of being seen as a weakness and a fault and what separates you from the crowd. But, as I was saying, yeah, it is not all of your character, but it is a part of your character. And a lot of religion, I feel, has done a lot to instill beliefs in people that cause them to not love their character. And it causes judgment, and there's so many contradictory statements where it's like, you know, judge not another being lest you judge yourself. And yet you're supposed to go around the world and spread, you know, and kill all the native indigenous. Like, we know the history people. Just do some historical research, like whether or not that was the Christians' gods, you know, that's what he wanted. But I don't really fall to that. My moon, I know I said it was in Gemini, but it's Purma Vasu, which is number 7 in the nakshatras. And if you research that, I can see through religion, and I can see through crap in the world, and it's very beneficial to me. But at the same time, when Mercury's in retrograde, it can make me feel like I'm going crazy, because I don't know how to try to express this to so many people to get you to understand. But I'm going on 13 minutes now, so I'm gonna cut it off now. But let me know if any of my messages there got through to you, and like this and share it, and I will make more like this. But I'll see you in my next video.